Yo, what's up? Welcome to My Life Monday with Mike, your mentor. Um, don't think I shared this to my business page. Oh well, if my coach is watching this, I'm sorry. Gotten a little away from posting this on my business page and then sharing it to my personal. But we'll get back to that shortly. So yeah, welcome to My Life Monday. My name is Mike King, aka Mike your mentor. Just a name I created because I thought it sounded kind of cool. And I just want to hope you're off to a good start on your week. Man, today flew by. This year has flown by. Where has this year gone? It seemed like just yesterday I was building up the content for this page and what I was going to speak about for all of 2019, and it took me a couple of months to put all that together, and here we are. It's been 11 months now, going strong, coming to you guys with a little bit of wisdom in some sort of way each and every day. I've missed a couple days here and there, but for the most part, steady and just showing up. So the whole purpose behind My Life Monday is for me to share some things from my week or the previous week of my life that maybe will make a difference in your life, right? That will maybe encourage you, will maybe speak to you, and will maybe inspire you. I don't know. Every time I come on here, before I come on, I honestly, I just say a little prayer and just ask God that He would open people's hearts and minds. And He's the one who put me up to this, so He knows what He's doing. I'm just trying to be obedient in that. So last week was a pretty cool week, right? We're starting to get into the holiday spirit. Neighbor across the street put up a ridiculous lights display, so my daughter and my wife are definitely happy about that. That's right, Annette. Slow and steady wins the race. But on a personal level, really cool. Got this jacket that's nice from one of my clients. They had a holiday party and invited me there, and gave this gift to me, which was really awesome and thoughtful. So that was fun. Yeah, me and my wife got to do that, meet some new people, just hang out. But what I really want to talk to you guys about tonight is two things. I want to talk to you about forgiveness, and I want to talk to you about relationships. We're coming into the holidays. Both of those things are extremely important for many different reasons, right? Obviously, relationships, because we're going to see the people that we care about, and maybe some people we don't care about too much. And we got to, we have to be thankful for that. But there's going to be a lot of opportunity to either build relationships or erode relationships. And a big part of that, if you run into those people, those in-laws maybe that you don't have a good relationship with, I would say at the root of 95% of the things that I've dealt with and that I've helped other men deal with is forgiveness, right? Because as I've talked about this whole year and on this channel, when we're young, we have these wounds that we take on. And it's different for women because women are more relationship built. They get it, right? They understand how important that is, and they've learned to navigate those waters, whereas men, at least in Western society, we just tell ourselves to shut up, keep it to ourselves, and we lie to ourselves that everything's going to be all right. And in reality, it's not all right, because we lie about how we feel and what we think to ourselves and to other people. And when we have those wounds that we stuff down inside of us, we never really address those, and at the heart of those is forgiveness towards the person who intentionally or unintentionally wounded us in some way. And I'm not going to rehash all of that tonight, but why this is so important. And I mean, God has just been having me think a ton about this lately. So a little bit of a backstory. A couple weeks ago, I had the privilege of being a panelist at an event for local business owners regarding suicide in the workplace, and it was tailored around, you know, the signs to look for, how do you, you know, create a culture that promotes openness, helps people deal with the things that they have going on inside their lives that you may not realize, right? You never know what someone else is dealing with, what they're thinking, what they've just been through. You know, I was just sharing a story today with somebody about a rough time that I had in high school, and how I took that to school, and the teacher had no idea that I was what had happened to me that morning at my house. And not to use that as an excuse for my behavior, but I used that, right, and I rolled that into making some bad decisions and saying some hurtful things, and you know, think of how many other people are walking around where something has happened to them, and maybe they don't express it, they just hold it in, and they're dealing with it, and they're carrying that weight around. So at this event for these business leaders, I got to kind of share my story about dealing with my brother's suicide, and how that affected me afterwards, in the self-forgiveness, or the process of self-forgiveness that I had to go through, right, all these years later, when I finally, like, when it physically and emotionally affected me, like, hey man, there's still some junk down here that you never dealt with, and you stuffed away, and you thought you were fine, and God you know, he shined a light on that and said, no man, I want to take this from you. I want to give you some more freedom. And so I shared, you know, that story and what that looked like. And afterwards, a gentleman came up to me, and he was really touched by my story. And he, you know, we talked, and we decided we were going to get together and break bread. So we met once, and he, you know, he shared his story with me, which is incredible, right? And his story is around forgiveness, and what that looks like when you affect somebody in such a powerful way negatively, and living with that, and then having that person come back into your life and forgiving you of that. Just how powerful that can be for you and for that other person. And I experienced that, right, when I had to go seek forgiveness for what I had done to this other person in high school all these years later. And I've shared that story about that with that teacher, and how much freedom I experienced from doing that. And it wasn't about them saying, yes, I forgive you, or no, I forgive you. It was about me owning up to what I had done, and then having the courage to voice that and ask for forgiveness, and the freedom that's found in that. So I met again with that person today, because God's doing something, right? And you know, we got to talking more about forgiveness and what that looks like, and how as people we're walking around with all this unforgiveness towards other people, towards situations that we thought were unfair, just the multitude of things that we're carrying around, and they show up in all these other areas of our lives, in our relationships with our spouses, in our relationships with our kids, and our relationships with our co-workers, who we are in the community, in our health. And if you're serious about answering the higher calling on your life and becoming the best version of yourself that you can be, you need to be willing to go back and face those things. So we're talking about putting something together where these powerful stories of forgiveness can be shared in an effort to inspire other people and motivate other people and encourage other people really to own their own choice in the forgiveness process, whether they're the one who needs to seek forgiveness or they're the one that's being asked for forgiveness. Because I'll tell you what, when you hear this guy's story, you realize, like I told him today, I'm like, you have no excuse, right? You have no excuse any longer to hold on to any more unforgiveness or not go seek forgiveness from a person you've offended. And it was an incredible meeting once again with this person and just what's going on there. So don't quite know the details and how all this is going to work out, but God's moving and He's put this idea in my mind, and we're going to work towards this and see the way that it works out. So the second thing, right, is just this, going back to this thing of relationship. Yesterday we had one of my in-laws had early Thanksgiving. Went over there, broke some bread, played a ton of games, had fun with all the kiddos, like I like to do. And it just reminded me of what God's been speaking to me about relationship. And they always do such a good job of hosting. They're incredible hosts. They have such hearts for people, not only people in our family, but people outside the family. I mean, there was people that weren't even in the family that were there, because this couple understands the power of relationship and how that can affect your life. And really, that's what life is all about, is those relationships. Because at the end of your life, when you are laying on your deathbed, you are not going to ask for more money. You are not going to ask for more possessions. You are going to ask for more time. You are going to wish you had more time. And the reason you're going to wish you had more time is so that you could have more experiences with relationships with those that mean the most to you. And God is just really reinforcing this in my life, and how powerful that is. Because there's all this confusion out there. I'm just going to shoot it to you straight about God, right? In that the conversations I've been having with people on a spiritual level that know my faith and don't know my faith, and we get to talk, and it's, they think they got to follow all these rules, right? And it's not about that. It's about the relationship, and that's why I love, like, I can just see this playing out in my mind, right? The person who was Jesus Christ coming to these Pharisees, right, who were trained attorneys in the law, and they had taken the 10 commandments that were given to them and ballooned them to over 600 rules that these people had to follow, and that they believed they had to follow to be in God's good grace, right? And he basically was like, you guys are some idiots. He's like, you got this all wrong, and you're teaching these people all wrong. And they tried to trap him, right? And they asked him, what is the greatest commandment? And he said there was 2 commandments. Love the Lord God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and love your neighbor like you love yourself. And at the core of both those commandments is relationship. And when you are focused on the relationship, everything else will take place. And someone kind of challenged me on this, and was giving me, they weren't giving me a hard time, they were just asking good questions. They were an atheist, right? And we were having this great discussion, and I brought it back to this point of relationship, and I said, listen, this person was married. I said, you're in a marriage relationship. You're perfectly well within your right to go out and sleep with any woman that's willing to sleep with you. But because you're in a marriage, you're in a relationship, right? You're not going to do that. So there are certain rules that exist within a relationship that you're going to follow because you don't want to hurt the other person, and vice versa. So, this just keeps coming up, right? And I think for myself personally, for so long, I think that I have good relationships, but with everything that I have going on in my life, I need to be reminded that it's not about making more money. It's not about having more possessions. Really, it's about relationships and making a difference in people's lives. And you make a difference in people's lives by being yourself, by showing up, and by loving them wherever they're at, with their own crap, with their own life, with their own situation. Because once again, you never know what that person is going through, or what they've just come out of, or what they're dealing with, and you could be the person who is a pivot for them in their life. God just reminded me of this story because I had lunch with someone earlier this week, and they were telling me this example. Thank you very much. Of this exact thing. And they said there was a time in their life when they were extremely depressed, and someone that we both knew noticed that about this person, and instead of making a big deal about it, they just came alongside this person and they started inviting this person to do things with them, to work out with them, to play basketball with them, to hang out with them. And it was through that, right, that kindness, that relationship building, that this person was able to pull themselves, or be pulled out of their depression, and move forward with their life. And that's what it's all about. And there is no more rewarding, more gratifying feeling than to have an actual, genuine relationship with somebody who you not only want the best for them, but they want the best for you. And there's no alternative motive. It's pure, right? And that's awesome. And how fortunate are we as we come into the holiday season that we're going to have more chances to do that, and more chances to express what those relationships mean. So my challenge to you, and we'll wrap this up tonight, would be, if this week here in America is Thanksgiving, if you celebrate that, if you believe that, or you just believe in being thankful, take stock of the relationships that you have in your life. And maybe there's a relationship that you haven't paid attention to for a while, and there's someone that you need to reach out to with just some encouragement and say, hey man, how you doing? It's been a while since we talked, just want to catch up, see how you're doing, and love on them a little bit, and make that difference in their life. So that's it for tonight with My Life Monday. Tomorrow is Tuesday Thoughts. As always, if you need someone to talk to, reach out to me, shoot me a DM, and we'll make something happen, because just like there's power in forgiveness and having the courage to ask someone to forgive you even if they don't or not, right? All the power comes from you speaking that, and for you being willing to ask and put yourself out there. It doesn't matter what their answer is. The same thing goes with sharing something and being vulnerable with somebody that you can trust. The power is getting that out, because once it's out, you can leave it there. You can make the choice and say, okay, this is out here. It has no more control over me. I can leave this where it's at, or I can decide to pick it back up and keep carrying it. The choice is ours, right? And the beautiful thing is the choice is ours if we're willing to realize it and accept that. So I love you guys. Hope you have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow for Tuesday Thoughts. Peace out.